Welcome back to Along This Spiritual Journey. So, we all are going to have bad days, and they're not always going to be the best of days. And I'm not saying you have to go out and try to be happy, but I do want people to be more aware of and mindful of the energy that they fill themselves up with is the energy that they give back out to others, even if it's indirect or directly. So, if your main default is bitter, and even if you are trying to find ways to be happy, you're still bitter through that happiness, it's going to radiate out. People are going to feel it. Energies around you are going to feel it. And then it calls it back into your inner world, your physical world. And that's when we start feeling like, why am I stuck? Now, this is not to blame nor to even find a solution. It's to go down a path of exploring, asking yourself, how do I want to replenish my energy when it's drained? I don't want to fill myself up with bitterness. Like you get off work, you're pissed off, and then for the next 4 hours, you just vent about work. It might feel good, but in a way, you're just reaffirming that you hate this job and you hate this space and you're not happy. So your body is going to create more angst and resistance towards this thing that you have to do daily to make your income, if that's the way you do it, unless you have a different source. And so we start finding ways to convince ourselves that we're not happy. The thing about energy is it becomes what you make it. This is why when you see someone who feels like they're super happy all the time, but really they could be masking because they're hurting so much on the inside, right? This is the energy that you can see that some people can't see outside of the spiritual realm. In the spiritual community, though, we see that that person's hurting because you can see how much joy they're trying to give out. It was like Robin Williams, where everyone saw how happy he was and all the energy he gave out, but really he was going through some stuff, and we all know how that ended. So it's about remembering how you refill yourself. Even if people love a type of energy about you, like you meet people and they're like, oh my gosh, you are just so open minded and you are so cool and I can tell you anything. That's fine, but don't let that become your identity so that you start taking on, I have to make people always think that I'm chill. I have to make people think that I'm always cool. So you're filling yourself up with something that's inauthentic, right? And then this is where most of us really do get depressed and we get upset and have anxiety because we feel like we're performing for others. And when we are our authentic selves, they get shut down. So that's why I'm very adamant about refilling yourself with your authentic energy. Now, for me, I know that I'm not always going to say things the most nicest, smoothest way, but I say things truthfully and I say them confidently, which is why it rubs people the wrong way. That I've accepted about me, but that's not something that I believe is my whole existence, right? I also know that I'm capable of being more, I would say, gentle when necessary and delivering a message the way it needs to be. But when I do so, it's always through confidence. So, regardless if I'm going up or down, my main vessel of energy source is confidence. So, I like to choose to pick different things that make me feel good. Some other days, I just really feel good about my skin, right? I'm just like really happy about that. And that brings me joy that I take care of it, right? There's so many different things, and people are always like, why are you so happy? I'm like, I find ways to fill myself up with things that actually make me happy. I don't fill my life up with things that other people say should make you happy, right? A lot of us try to have a checklist and fulfill it by having all these things that we are told the American dream or whatever dream, or just the basic things that we should all have, right? Home, partner, food, all this, or that we want to have. But it doesn't always play out that way. So throughout your daily physical life, you're going to always have to find ways to keep yourself in homeostasis. Remember, the whole body is about balance. Good health is just simply balance. When you're sick, you're just out of balance, and something chemically or anatomically has to recalibrate itself. If your whole body that you physically use has to do that, why would your emotions not? Right? Your emotions need recalibration all the time. And only you can decide when you want to do that and how you do that. So that when you do interact with others, now you're filling them up with your authentic essence. When you meet somebody, you're like, what is it about them that just sticks out? I can't get rid of it. Like they're just always there. And they make me so happy when they're around. That's because that person fills themselves up with what they truly want to be filled with. I can't ever tell anyone how to think or feel. I can only provide guidance of what's helped me. I have always been a type of person that overthought every process and overthought everything that everybody said when I was younger because I was around people who did that. And when I finally learned how to silence those voices to listen to my own voice, which was many voices of its own, but I found my unique voice, which allowed me to then have confidence in whichever voice I used. This is the human existence. This is the emotional existence. This is the logical existence. Whichever voice we choose is what we call a right answer on the outside. But regardless of the answer on the inside, it's right to you because you're processing it. So allowing yourself to keep filling yourself up with answers. You can learn and see that maybe it doesn't always go well and people might not agree, but it doesn't mean that you're not correct in that situation, even if people disagree with it, right? You're going to always have some level of resistance and ebb and flow. So it's about finding that balance, but not so much so that you're masking for others and now you're all the way into their delusion and now they're just balancing you within their orb, or you staying in your lane and letting things orbit around you so that you don't get sucked in to someone else's energy. That's how it works. This is the energy game 101. It's just always remembering, like it's a simple situation, like if someone's really in a bad mood. If they're in a bad mood, I'm going to acknowledge it and walk away. I'm not going to make them feel bad about it. I'm not going to try to be demeaning or condescending. I'm just going to walk away because people have bad moods. That's the whole point. They can't help that they're in that mood in that moment and they're trying to process it versus going over and irritating it and making it worse, right? You know what I mean? That's how you then take on someone's energy as well. And now you're walking around mad at this person because you were mad that they were mad and that don't make no sense, right? So remember that how you fill yourself up is how you're going to fill up others around you. You're going to fill up your environment the same way. You're going to surround yourself with energies that caters to the energy that you're emitting. That's why when people talk about manifestation and all these other things, that's what they're referring to. You're calling in energies that are attracted to whatever you are currently in that state of being. And if you stay in that state of being and make it a state of mind, then you start creating behaviors around it that reaffirm that's what you want. So be mindful, have your bad days, have your bad moments, but when you go back out and interact with others, or if you have to interact with others, just take time to yourself and give a moment and explain to people, like, I need this time to myself. I need to recalibrate. And be okay saying that because the ones who get it, and the ones who don't won't. And then at that point in your life, you make the decisions that you choose. I hope that makes sense. Love ya. Mwah.